All right, this is my 2020, late 2020, that's important. So equivalent of 2021, Prado. It's a VX. So it has the current model engine, the same one they put in the new 70 series. 500 Newton meters, 150 kilowatt engine, 2.8 litre. They only make them in automatic. So yeah. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the last 3 years of owning it. The things I love and the things I hate. We're gonna start from the front and we'll work our way back. Very front, bull bar, off-road animal. I've hit 3 roos with this. It's hit a lot of things, bumped into some trees. The powder coat's starting to come off here and here in a few little places. Who knows, maybe at one point I might like raptor line it or something, but the one roo dented here. It dented my number plate. Dented this bit of like, this is all like mesh stuff, all replaceable. It's just a few Allen keys. I could easily replace it. I've actually left it so that you can see it. Behind that is a Runva 13,000 pound winch, 13XP. This bull bar is the easiest bull bar I've ever mounted a winch to. All this just comes out with a few Allen keys and you literally just plonk the winch in there and bolt it down. Like it's, you don't have to take anything off. It's so freaking well designed. I actually got rid of the hook and just used like a Maxtrax soft shackle. And it's a winch. It works like a winch, which is fantastic. I did have another winch in there, a Bush Ranger, which burnt out. It just, or not burnt out, but it stopped working for, I don't know what was wrong with it, but I decided to change it. So yeah, that's that. Bush Ranger spotties, very powerful. I like the amber covers. I've got a Bush Ranger light bar behind there. GME 2.1 dBi antenna, and I've also got a 6 dB, so 6.5 or whatever, for remote touring in flat areas. This is a general purpose thing, works really, really well. It's connected to an XRS 370 inside. Very, very, very good UHF system. Underneath it comes with standard recovery points on the bull bar. They come with it. They're super thick, super good. It comes with this bash plate. And then underneath the whole rest of it, I have K-On underbody protection, which I have put through hell. I've rested the car on it. It's also got the K-On shock guards. I actually lost a wheel at some point on this car because of someone ugger-duggering it too much, not me, a workshop. Lost all the wheel nuts. It landed on the K-On shock guards and even got towed onto the tow truck, resting on the shock guards. And they're perfect. They're honestly completely fine. I haven't replaced them. They look great. So very, very good underbody protection from K-On. Well done. Behind that, the engine is stock. Stock engine's got, all I've added to that is a secondary fuel filter. I probably will add a catch can to it. There's not even a second battery. What I have changed though, is I've gone for a lithium cranking battery. And this is from Marine Battery Co. It is, I think, 1400 CCA. It's got cold cranking amps. What is it? 1400 CCA, 60 amp hour lithium battery. I don't need a charger for it. Charge it straight off the alternator. It's super light. Like, you honestly pick it up and you're like, is this like a display model that is empty? It's like 12 kilos, 10 kilos. Like, it's so light. Previously, I reckon I've jump started this car 70 times or something. Like, I always have a lithium jump starter pack in my car because the VX has like underbody lights and interior lights and little things that are constantly running off the battery. And I did find, particularly after like a winching session or something, even if I run it for a couple of hours, it would get flat batteries quite a lot with the stock battery. The alternator's all good, but yeah, definitely, because I'm charging the lithium battery in the back of the car and the lithium battery in the trailer, the stock battery wasn't really holding up. And since having the lithium in there, it just sits pretty at 13 volts and it never moves. I don't know where the end of it is. It feels like it's got 2 or 3 times more capacity than the old one. It winches really hard, it cranks hard when it starts. It's got double the cranking capacity and pretty much double the storage of the old one, usable. So they are quite expensive, but they last a long time compared to the old ones. Like as in, I don't think mine was usable. My old one was really usable after 18 months. This one, they reckon 3 or 4 years should be fine. Now, I've always said underbonnet lithium is not a good idea. They've been around for long enough that I'm willing to try it. I've also got mates who have tried exactly the same brand. I'm happy with trying that. I'm hoping to get 3 or 4 years out of it. I'm not, which is very different to how long I think I'll get out of the lithium in the boot, which is like closer to 10, purely because it's exposed to heat. It's a high CCA thing. It's a high load. It's a different kind of lithium battery. It's a different design. So we'll see how it goes. I certainly have a lot more comfort having this under the bonnet than the stock battery, which as I said, I was constantly jump starting that thing. So, further back, self-eye antenna. I used to have a Black Hawk. That failed twice. So the first one, the tube just came off and that was replaced under warranty. The second one just wasn't very good. I turned the self-eye on and it just didn't seem to make much difference. So I switched over to a GME. Also, the whole thing was like going all ratty and like faded and stuff. I switched over to a GME just because I've been using GME gear for a while, and really good, works well. It's doing self-eye things. It's doing what it should do. It's doing what the Black Hawk did initially, but I think a bit better. It's funny, if you read the specs, the GME is not as good in specs, but in practice, significantly better. So yeah, it's sitting on a K-on mount, which as you saw before, it goes back with the bonnet. It doesn't touch the roof or anything. It just folds down to like here. I'll show you. Awning's in the way, but that's okay. So it just does that. It was mounted here, which is right in the middle of your field of view. Sam, my wife, absolutely got the shits with it, so we've moved it back. And it works really well here. The only thing is it's a little bit too tall to get in my office, so I have to take it off at home, which is fine. Moonlight fabrication snorkel, sounds good, looks great, very well made, nothing's moved, very well installed. Is a snorkel, works well, recommend it. This entire car is wrapped. So it's wrapped with bush wraps. The cheapest kit, I think it's called the Cape. It's the only one that existed at the time. The bush wraps is pretty flogged, and that's perfect because that's exactly what it's for. I've had the bush wraps on there. It's only supposed to last 12 months. I've had it on there for 3 years. I am going to take it off because they recommend taking it off after a while. So I've given it an absolute hiding, and the paint underneath looks perfect. I'm going to do another whole episode on exactly what I do with it afterwards. But if you're thinking about bush wraps, do it. Perth Detailing Centre in Perth can sort you out if you want to install it, or you can just get it online and install it yourself. All my mates have gone and got it. Like, so this is not me, they gave it to me. This is not me saying, oh, do it because they're a sponsor kind of thing. All my mates have gone and got it. Everyone I know is like, oh, aren't you worried about your paint? Because this paint is obviously like a dark color, shows up scratches like crazy. No, I'm not at all worried. Get it. It takes the stress out of full driving. It takes the stress out of using it. Just go and get it. It's the same price as a detail, or less. It's the same price as a ceramic coat. Ceramic coat lasts like 5 minutes, and it doesn't actually give you a physical barrier. This does. I will say the self-healing on the cheapest one doesn't really self-heal, but I don't really care because all I want is for it to protect my paint, and it does that bloody well. And you can ceramic coat it as well over the PPF. All right, let's go on the other side. Okay, this is biltong. This has nothing to do with the car, but we are making biltong on the awning because why not? Speaking of the awning, Bush Company 270 XT Max. I used to have a 270 XT. I changed to the Max because I wanted a little bit of extra space. So the Max comes, as you can see, right to the front of the car. Whereas the old one ended about like on a sort of a diagonal here. Both fantastic awnings. This one you have to put 2 straps on, so it takes about probably an extra 15-20 seconds. The old one was 18 seconds to put out. I reckon this one's like 30 seconds to put out, 40 seconds. both unbelievably quick. It's so windy today and no stress. It is properly strong. I mean, I'm 80 kilos, no drama at all. What I will say is my roof rack's not actually long enough for this. So I had to have a special bracket made up by my mate John, who works with Klarman. He welded that up for me, legend, on a Sunday. So if you have the standard front runner roof rack on a Prado, it won't be long enough. I believe the Rhinos are long enough, but I think you need 2.1 meters of length, and this was like 2. So I was like 100 mil short. Anyway, so that's what had to be done to make this work. If you have a 200 series or something, don't worry, you'll be fine. Now, lights, I've still got these Light Force Rock 20s, they still work. 2 of them are full of water, they still work. I haven't got round to putting something that doesn't fill up with water on. They do a perfectly fine job, but I'm not that stoked with the quality, to be completely honest. On the roof, there's also a Red Arc 120 watt solar panel. I just love having a panel up there. It's the exact right amount of current to just run, to keep everything just topped up. So I don't have to stress about it. If I go away for a week or something and I leave the car outside, it's not a drama, but I actually park at home in a carport, so I do actually plug in. So I've got a Manager 30 in this with TVMS. So I plug into 240 when I leave it at home because I don't get solar, and I don't ever turn my fridge off. Now, Donald Industries, rock sliders or side steps. He calls them side steps, I call them rock sliders. I have balanced the car on these many times. I think they look great. He only makes them for a Prado. If you want to get in touch with him, he's on Facebook. By the way, there are links to everything, every modification I've done on this car on my website. So you can get links to everything. These things are bulletproof. I think they look great. I've integrated the factory lights underneath. I've got with some rock lights wired into the factory wiring in the VX. So if I open the door, you probably can't see it now. You might be able to see a little bit of light there. So it lights up like it should. Also note, during the day you can't see it, so if you leave the door open, your lights are going to be permanently on. Back to the lithium battery. That's why I love that thing, because I don't get flat batteries all the time. Wheels, I've got Method 703s in bronze. I've put these things through hell. I've been down to 4 PSI, nearly bogged on the beach with the tide coming in, and just absolutely sent it to the moon to get out. The bead grip, phenomenal. It's got this thing called bead grip technology. It takes 140 PSI to mount the tire to these rims, which is so much. Like normally it's like 30 or 40. They just stick. Honestly, they act like a bead lock. It's a bead lock without having bead locks. There is a guy on the internet who runs 40s on his Hilux, and he runs them at 0 PSI, 0, with bead grip, and they don't come off. Like, it's so good for bad situations. Again, fully wrapped on the side, looks like crap. There are holes in it, but the paint's perfect. Like here, something's rubbed on that, and it's just rubbed the wrap. So I actually can't wait to pull it all off, and I'll show you how it's looking. I think I'm gonna have to get, anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. I'll quickly show you here. Inside, there's stuff everywhere. I've not cleaned my car. I got these are tough terrain mats, like molded floor mats. They're floor mats, they work well. Superfit seat covers, still in perfect condition. The leather underneath, I've got leather seats in this, perfect. So very, very happy with the Superfits. I got them with this like padding underneath, which is great. They work with the air conditioned seats, because I've got heated and air conditioned seats. So that's all working well. This head unit, JBL head unit, well, it's not actually JBL, I believe it's made by Pioneer, but anyway, in the VX, it's got an upgraded head unit. I hate it. I hate it so much. It so often doesn't let me adjust the volume, and I have to restart it and restart it and restart it and restart it. It is an absolute pain in my ass. I want to get a new head unit, but I'm trying to find one where I can still access all the Toyota settings. So if you know of one, please let me know. But it's got Apple CarPlay and all that kind of stuff. It works okay, but recently it's just been playing up. They did also fix the Bluetooth issue. They had to replace one of the amplifiers because previously it was so quiet on Bluetooth. Anyway, that's just a factory Toyota recall. The interior in this car I find really comfortable. Steering wheel controls and everything are really nice. GME XRS is just the best radios. I've got a Garmin Overlander in there as well. I really like that actually. It's been very good. Yeah, other than that, I've tried to keep the interior relatively simple. So it all works. It's got electric seats, which I don't love electric seats, to be honest. Especially when my wife's 4'11" and I've nearly got a flat battery by the time she gets to the front of the runners. Like she gets in the car, it's like, nyeh. One thing I do love though, you can stay there and I'll show you from the other side, and my wife loves it as well, the electric steering wheel. I actually have it really close because I like to be able to put my arm here. My wife has to come right in here because she's short and, you know, whatever. So usually she has to drive like this. With the electric steering wheel, she can move it right away from her and she gets a much nicer driving position because it's far away. So the fact that we can move this in any direction is actually just really nice. So I didn't think I'd like an electric steering wheel as much as I do. Also, it's stupid and tacky, but I kind of love that it gets out of the way when you turn the car off. Bye. Oh, I've also got a Red Arc Tow Pro in here and a throttle controller. I honestly don't use the throttle controller unless I'm on rock crawling. I just leave it on standard. Red Arc Tow Pro, fantastic thing. I've got a torque converter lockup kit, which I didn't really notice any difference when it went in, to be completely honest. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes, but I don't know what my transmission temperatures are. I'm gonna get a what's it called, scan gauge 3 and chuck that in so I can actually keep an eye on it, because I would like to know. I'm sure everything just seems to be working fine. Radar cruise I love. Definitely recommend radar cruise and blind spot monitoring, all stock things that come with it and that I really like. And one other thing I just really like in this car, no, it's not anything special, lots of cars have this. I like being able to tell whether it's locked or not. Oh, boot open? Yeah, boot's open. I always know if my car's locked because the wing mirrors go in. That's a tiny little thing, but I can look back and I know that my car's unlocked or locked. Yes, I know it's stupid, but I just really like that. Also, to unlock it, you can just lock it or unlock it, you can just touch the door. But I do find that the key's got really bad range. So I'm doing it now, and it takes a few goes. And then to unlock it, I just grab the door with the key in my hand. So they've got a fob, and the fob lies, it says Land Cruiser. It's not a Land Cruiser. In the back, I have baby seats. How are your arms going, Jess?
They're very strong but struggling.
Okay, in the back I've got baby seats, which I just use to carry stuff all the time. I've got these crash pad organisers, which I put like radios and antenna mounts and stuff in there, and kids' toys and some beer. I use snap shades. I love snap shades. They even have like a new little thing, not sponsored, paid for these. They even have like a new little thing to like block off these corner bits that can let mozzies in, so you can like leave your dog in the car with the windows wound down. So these are magnetic. They just pop in. They're made specifically for the car. I think the whole kit for the whole car was like $150 or something. They are the best. So as I said, little kids, so it's a shade for them, but you can still wind the windows down. They don't look ugly. And yeah, you can get these little blocking bits so you can leave your dog in the car and wind the windows down. Although I have also come back to my car to find, with the windows down, to find the snap shades on the floor and my dog's head sticking out the window because he's a big buff head. Aren't you, Fred? Fred, come here. So just leave it like up a little bit so the dog can't knock the snap shade out of the way. I'll cut to some other footage here because I'm not taking a baby seat out to show you the electrical setup. The electrical setup is all done by Klarman. I've got a 150 amp battery, 150 amp lithium battery in there, Amptron battery, and The only thing I'll say is I might have undercooked it. I probably should have gone for 200 amps, but at the time, the battery that they had didn't fit, and now they've got another smaller one, and it would fit. And if I was gonna do anything, I don't need it, but I would like 200 amps, purely because I have lots of little things that draw a lot of power. So I have an Ultimate 9 GPS tracker in this, and it draws a little bit of power all the time. I've also got a Cellfire that draws a little bit of power all the time. Well, not all the time, when I've got it on. And then I have a huge 82-litre fridge with a freezer that runs at -20. And that draws some power in summer. Particularly, this is a dark coloured car. There's not that much venting for that fridge. It works hard. And as a result, for more than 2 days, or for 2 days really, I'm really at the limits of my power. Before I've started using big things like inverters. So I always have to carry a solar blanket for that kind of thing. So I've got a Red Arc 300 watt blanket there plugged in, and that's charging it up beautifully. I'm currently getting 17 amps in. So that's great. I've got a 1500 watt Red Arc inverter in here. I don't know why I went for a 1500 watt. I should have gone either a 750 or a 2000. 1500 watts is a really weird intermediate range. Like 2000 is like you can run pretty much anything on it. 1500 is you can run a lot of things, but like not anything that's full power. Do you know what I mean? So like if I want to get a kettle or something, it's going to be 2200 watts. 2000 watt will run it. The 1500 doesn't run a lot of those big power devices. So I should have just gone for something smaller and lighter, or something bigger. Anyway, now I know. If I was to do it again, I'd probably just put a 750 in this, because that'll run pretty much everything I need it to run, like drone chargers and, you know, a freaking blender and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I don't use it. I do use it tons, but I rarely push it. What is cool is that I can charge my trailer if I need to, using it as shore power. So I can just plug it in and it gives a 30 amp charge. Again, 360 watts, 400 watts. I don't need a 1500 watt in here, and that's fine. It's all mounted to this K-on cargo barrier, which is really good and really strong and light, which I love. I love how light they are. You know those big steel ones they used to have? They are so antiquated and so crap and a pain in the ass to install. This thing takes like 5 minutes to install, and it's just beautifully made and thought through, and aluminium, and it's just someone thought about it properly. Now on the roof I have 4 max tracks. I've got 2 normal max tracks and 2 max tracks extremes. Very good for when you're bogged. I've also changed my tyre from Maxxis Razor because I ate them to pieces. It's weird, I've had, like, some people have had really good runs, some people have had bad runs. I'm one of the latter. I changed to a Yokohama Geolandar mud terrain. Very, very grippy. In the wet, they're great. In the mud, they're unbelievable. They are loud, they're heavy. And I'm not mad at the heavy, a little bit too loud. I would love to run a Toyo mud terrain because they're the best tyres I've ever used. But they don't have them in my size. 285/70 R17 or 33-inch tyre with a 17-inch rim. And these rims, by the way, are a 0 offset 17 by 8.5. This tyre, I put a Max Trax Extreme under it, and I gave it the berries to try and get out of a bog, and it destroyed part of the tread. Now these things are supposed to have a warranty. I haven't tried to claim on that. I'm going to have a crack, but if you look here, there are big chunks the entire way around the tyre out of the tread. Yeah, so other than that, they haven't chipped, they've worn well. Like, I'm very happy with them other than this bit. So yeah, seem to be a good tyre, but again, I still would prefer a Toyo. They're a bit quieter, they're same grip levels, and they feel very well built. I've got experience with them. I run them on the Delica, but it's not in a mud terrain. Okay, on the back of the car, canvas bin bag. I'm actually going to change this, weirdly, not because of quality. PM Canvas make, as far as I'm concerned, the best bin bags in the world because they're fully custom. So you can make them however you want. They run wax converters canvas, really good stuff. All Australian made in Perth. He doesn't have a website. He has an Instagram page and a phone number just there. Get in touch with him. His name's Nathan. He's a legend, but there's a big waiting list. And yeah, I'm actually going to change this for a slightly shorter bag because this touches on my hitch a lot of the time. So, but the cool thing is that this bag is completely removable. So I just undo these and that bag comes off. And there's a hole in it so you can undo the wheel nuts. Or, like it's all well thought out. But the cool thing is, yeah, I can just take this bag off and I'll probably put this bag on something else, like, you know, maybe do on the trailer or something like that. It's still a useful, very useful bin bag. I put heaps of stuff in here. I've got ratchet straps in here, snatch straps in here. I've got my like Max Trax recovery thing here, soft shackles, tools, handle for my jockey wheel, all that stuff on here. Very, very, very useful. I've also, before I open the door, front runner table, which is not here right now, but if you've watched any of my episodes where I just cook in the Prado, I use that a lot. I just took it out because we went down south and I had a bunch of stuff on the roof, so let's reduce the weight on the roof. Now in the back, it's a mess, but a good mess. I know where everything is, I'm used to it, it all works well, except for the whole system as a whole. It doesn't work well. So my dog is very big. Fred sits in here. I've done a whole episode on this. I'm going to change this storage system. I've already spoken to the guys. It's going to change soon, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but as a storage system for someone who doesn't have a 42 kilo it's very good. For me, it's just not working now that I've got 2 kids and a big dog. So anyway, there'll be an episode done on what I change it to. And I think I've got a good design for it. K-on table, use this a lot. Simple, just mounts to the back door. I haven't had any issues with it. I put a ton of stuff behind here, which I just find really useful. Yeah, it's a great modification. I think that I've got 2 tables here, so I use both. Probably use this one a little bit more, but again, like that table there costs like 4 times as much as this. So if you're just going to have one table, get one of these. I use this a lot for changing nappies, actually, and a lot for my camera gear. I find it really useful for my camera gear. It's just like a good place to set up. And there's a fly in there, a dead fly, because I'm glamorous. I managed to burn through one of my hose reels because I was airing up and it was sitting there on my exhaust while it was doing a DPF burn. I don't usually leave my car running when I air up, but I did this time for some reason, and it was doing a DPF burn. Burnt through the hose halfway through, so I replaced it with a new J-Flex one from Bunnings. They're about $80 and it's a 10 meter one. The new models compared to the ones that were out ages ago are so much better. They actually fully recoil. The old ones, there's always like a meter hanging off, which I'm probably just going to cut that off. I don't need 9 meters of water hose. I do need 9 meters of air hose, but I probably need like 6 meters of water hose so I can fill up my washer bottle if I need to, but like that's about it. Yeah, the whole system works well. Sea-flow pumps. There's, again, on my gear page, there's a description of all the parts that are in it. This is a Bunnings bidet tap. Yes, the bum cleaner. And it's great. Just with a bunch of fittings. No, I don't have all the list of fittings and whatever. We went to a fittings shop, we made it work. Take it to like Custom Camp Solutions, I believe they're called now. Pro Camp Solutions is no longer, who built the drawers, but the guy who built them, Rob, they've merged with another company called Custom Installations, and they've called themselves, I want to say, it's a combination of the 2 names. I'll put it on the screen. I'm sorry, Rob, I can't remember it. Not good with that kind of stuff. Anyway, the airbags in here. I've got Airbag Man airbags all plumbed into my ARB compressor. I love having airbags. When I put a bunch of stuff, heavy stuff on the roof, I just put up 15 PSI in them and the car handles properly again. I've got a huge big ISI bike rack and 2 e-bikes that go on it, or up to 4 e-bikes. That can be 150 kilos hanging off the back with a big heavy bike thing. You put 20 PSI in the bags and it's perfect, like you don't even notice it. You've got 180, 200 kilos of drawbar weight from the trailer, put 30 PSI in it, doesn't, like, all of a sudden it just drives right. So yeah, that's been great. I've got extra power outlets here. So that's actually connected to the lithium battery. So that's, I can turn that into like Siggy plugs and things like that to run fridges and things in my old army trailer, or just anything. I can just use it as a power source. In fact, because it's a lithium battery, I could actually probably plug that into my trailer and give it like power, give it shore power, and it would probably charge through the DC-DC charger that's built into my trailer. And this one's just connected to my alternator, or my starter battery, which again is also lithium, so that gives constant power. Something to consider when you have a lithium starter battery is that because the voltage doesn't drop, it stays up at like 13.2 volts. If you are plugged into your trailer, and say your trailer's got 50% power and you stop, and your trailer is an auto sensing charger, it will continue to charge while your car is not running because the battery voltage is high, if that makes sense. So they've got a voltage sensor on a lot of the DC-DC chargers. So if I'm driving along and I know that my trailer is going to keep charging and I stop overnight somewhere and my trailer's not full, I will always unplug the Anderson, because otherwise I know that the big 200 amp battery in my trailer will drain my cranking battery. It's just maths. 60 amps in there, 200 amps of potential energy theft from my trailer. Make sure you unplug the Anderson if you run a lithium cranking battery. Sorry if that didn't make sense. I'm not very good at explaining electrical stuff. Big 82 litre Snowmaster fridge. Absolute powerhouse. I've had this area here in like 65 degree heat. Like I put my temperature gun on 65 degrees on the outside of the fridge, and it was maintaining -20 in the freezer, which is what it's set to. It's an absolute beast. I've never pushed a fridge as hard as this and had it not budge. I've got an Engel, I've got a Waco, I've got the Mike Coleman. Now I've never pushed the Mike Coleman, but it's performed perfectly. I've pushed the Waco and I've pushed the Engel, not even in the same ballpark. This thing is a weapon of a fridge. And it's probably gonna go. So I can have room for my dog. So it's gonna be a sad day. Sorry, old friend. Also, if anyone would like to buy a drawer system with a fridge, let me know. It'll be for sale in probably January. All up retail, this system, including the fridge, is about $7,800. $6,000 for the drawers, $1,800 for the fridge. Let's call it half that, so $4,000. That's what it's up for. It will be up for. So hit me up if you want it. It's a very good system. It will not come with the electrical fit out. It will come, and it won't come with the pumps. Make me an offer for the pumps. I don't know how many times people have asked me about this hitch. I have an extended hitch. It sticks out about 100 mil more than a normal hitch. It makes no difference to how the car drives or tows or anything. It just means that I can open the back door with the trailer hitched on. It's a great thing. I think it was like 60 bucks, 80 bucks, something like that. It's solid steel. It's rated to 4 ton. Works well. Yeah, I think because there's not very much overhang on a Prado, it really doesn't, it's not weird to have the tow hitch this far away from the axle. I'm also not towing anything that heavy. Like my trailer's only just less than 2 ton, fully loaded, so it doesn't have that much drawbar weight. This I reckon might add 10% to the drawbar weight effectively, and I'm being really generous there. I've had the whole thing weighed by a professional weigh place, and based on the maths, it looks like this makes no difference to the effective drawbar weight on the car. So yeah, underneath here, K-On water tank, 30 litres, just the best. Always got water. A certain big YouTuber with Viking-based number plates made a dumb statement about it, saying, sorry Ronnie, I'm going to take the piss out of you here, saying, oh, you shouldn't have a pump plumbed into it because then you can't access water if you don't have a pump. You can have a tap and a pump. You just plumb it in between. So the pump comes off here and the tap is still there. I put a little cap on it to keep the tap clean. Yeah, so yeah, I recommend running a pump on it. It's great because it means it's really accessible. So the airbags still work perfectly, but the cover over them is shot. Absolutely shot to pieces, but hasn't impacted the performance, so cool. Standard fuel tanks, 150 litres, wicked fuel range, 1000 Ks, easy. Really, really good. Fuel consumption, I get about 11, 12 around town. I've got a pretty heavy foot. Towing the trailer, somewhere between 14 and 17, depending again on heavy foot and conditions and stuff. Worst I've ever had is 20, and that was towing a 3-ton caravan, hilly area, quite fast. So yeah, it can be good on fuel if you're not a knob. Unfortunately, I'm a knob. Yeah. Camera relocation bracket from K-On. This was actually my idea, fun fact. I was like, this is something that annoys me, can you please design one? And they did. Really good. It means I can see the tow bar now. It means I can have a bin bag on the Prado, it's great. One thing I will say is I really want a rear bar, and I'm working with a company to design what I think will be the best rear bar ever made for a Prado or any car with a swing out door. And that's a big statement, but if it works, and I think it will, phenomenal if we can get this to work. Really phenomenal. It's something I'm really excited about because I've had swingaways and they're a pain in the ass, and I think if we can do it this way that I'm thinking, unreal. So let's hope that happens. One final note as well, which I just didn't mention when we're doing the interior, the stereo in these things, in the VX, it's got a 13 speaker JBL system, is banging. It's unreal. It's got 2 subs, it's got so much grunt, it's so clear. Yeah, like, you know, a lot of things in the VX that some people, like my mate Chris, who runs a full drive show and has done a lot of stuff with Ronnie, and there's a whole run through of his Prado. He wouldn't go the VX again. I would. I use all the things that he doesn't use. I use the center console fridge. I love the stereo. I do actually use the side cameras under the mirrors because my dog runs alongside and I can keep an eye on him, and I use it for parking and stuff. He doesn't use them. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that he doesn't use that I actually do use all the time. So yeah, I would go the VX again for sure. But he said that if he was going to go again, well, I think he's going to get a Troopy anyway. So yeah, I think that's about it. That's my Prado. Oh, I blew the rear diff. Yeah, that happened. I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault. The diff wasn't put together properly. All the carrier bolts were loose. So Toyota came and assessed it, said, yes, this is a manufacturing fault, and replaced it. I won't say it was an easy process. There's a whole video on that, but that did happen. The wheel's fallen off because too many ugga-duggers, and the rear diff blew because not enough ugga-duggers. But other than that, it's been very reliable. I would happily jump in it tomorrow and drive around Australia with my family. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.